Is that correct?
Yes, my wife. No.
You know it's a crime to lie to the police, right?
When I start,
Pulling a gun on you, is that correct?
yes.
Where's the gun?
Huh?
Where's the gun now?
The gun is in the house, and I'm so scared.
You heard that? That was my husband calling the police on me. Now, before you decide what type of woman I am, let me explain to you how I got here, because nothing about this started the way it ended.
My pastor says to stay in prayer, it will rain. Oh, there'll be pain. Troubles will come, yeah, they will understand. Count it on joy. You gotta count, morning will come, sun will shine, yeah, keep your head high.
We met in July 2021 through an entertainer. I won't say the entertainer's name because it's not relevant, but we met through an entertainer in July 2021. I was about to go to Africa with my cousins, and we talked a little bit the first time we met. We talked about the basics, right? Ages, what we have going on, do we have somebody? So that night he told me, he's an athlete, he told me that from another country, obviously Jamaica. He said he doesn't have a girlfriend. He said they broke up because he came home early due to COVID. So this is back to 2020, right? He said they broke up because when he got home early, unexpectedly, he found out she had a man. Okay, so this is July 2021, so I'm like, okay, their relationship is over with, right? Okay. So then I found out he's younger than me, and I'm like, okay, you don't have any kids? He's like, no. That was a red flag for me, because I'm like, not in a bad way, but it was just like, I told him straight up, I was like, oh, it doesn't make sense for us to talk then, because I have a son and he's grown, self-sufficient, everything, right? So he was like, I was telling him that I don't want to have any more kids. So he was like, suppose me tell you I can't have no picnic. So I was like, oh, okay, if you can't have kids, that's a different story. So we proceeded. After that time that we met, so I went to Africa for 2 weeks, came back. He was about to leave. He was just coming back from Detroit back to Fort Lauderdale. He was about to leave out the next day. So I went to go see him at a hotel. Nothing was going on. I just went to go see him before he left. So when I got there and I opened the room door, and he was just like staring at me. He was just like, how could I be so lucky? Sauce game, okay? He was like, how could I be so lucky, whatever. So we sat there and talked for a while. He told me about his ambitions and what he wants to do and how he knows what he wants and all the things. He sounded like a solid dude, right? Okay, so he stayed. We stayed and we talked for a couple hours. He left the next morning. Okay, I obviously I went home. I went back home, and then he left the next morning to go back to Jamaica. At that point, there was nothing. We decided we're gonna be cool and keep in contact and stuff like that. And I thought it was cool. He was nice. Seemed like a guy that had his head on his shoulders. All the things, right? Okay, so shortly thereafter, that was August. So like sometime in September, I went to Jamaica. Yes, to see him, but also I had business to take care of. I had just got my TRN. I had just applied for my Jamaican citizenship. I wanted to go to Jamaica and establish myself, open a bank account, things like that. So I was like, okay, let me kill two birds or whatever. Went to Jamaica and I got a hotel. When I got there, he picked me up from the airport. He was waiting for me, which was a good sign. Took me to my hotel. He had coconuts and sugarcane. That's my two things, okay? My two things. In his trunk. He peeled it for me. He chopped the coconut for me like real yard man stuff, right? So it was like, okay. So that was a good sign already. Mind you, Jamaica was on lockdown. This was in 2021, still COVID-ish times. So Jamaica was on lockdown. So we were kind of stuck in one place. We didn't want to be driving around too much because you could get in trouble or whatever. If you get pulled over, it's an issue. We don't want to have to deal with that. So we stayed at the hotel. We were there chilling, talking, watching TV, stuff like that. And while we were in my room, he opened the drawers, right? And he found 10,000 Jamaican dollars. He found 10,000 Jamaican dollars. And did he give it to me? No. Did he give me half? No. But whatever. He spent the bread. We spent the bread. Not we. He spent the money on me during that trip. And I didn't trip about it because I was like, whatever. It wasn't there. But that I should have got that $10,000. But anyway, that's not the point here. So what happened? Oh, we went. He kept saying I wasted money on the hotel because he has a house and he could take me to his house. And I was like, I don't know you like that. I'm not going to your house, you know, not spending the night at your house. Like, that's crazy. So he still took me, like, we still took the risk and drove to his house. His house from that hotel was probably like 30 minutes. So we went to his house. I met his mom, I met his sister, I met his brother. Everyone was very nice. His mom, top-notch chef. She can cook. Her food was very good. His sister also. I'm not even sure who made the rice and peas, but the rice and peas was fire. Anyway, back to the story. The rice and peas, it was so good. Anyways, so yeah, we stayed over there at his house for a while. We spent basically the day, and when it was about to turn nighttime, we were like, let's get back on the road to go back to the hotel. So that next morning, we got up very early and went to the bank so I could open my bank account. What a mission. I don't know if you ever tried to open an account in Jamaica before, but what a mission. They act like they didn't care about my American dollar. They were just like, you know, you need 2 IDs, you need this, you need that. And the way my name is set up, thanks Dad, I have a hyphen and an apostrophe in my name. And when I was born, they didn't have room for that, so they smushed everything together. So my birth certificate had everything smushed together. So when I was trying to open my account, they were like, oh, but your passport have apostrophe and a hyphen, and your birth certificate doesn't. I'm like, yeah, because when they printed this birth certificate, they didn't have, you know, room. They didn't make space. They didn't do whatever it was. They didn't put hyphen and apostrophe back then. Anyway, so they didn't, literally was saying that I could be a different person. I could be scamming. But the real scam is y'all. Okay, anyway, I'm getting off track here. So he being my friend at the time, which is now my husband, he called somebody, he called his banker and was explaining to her what the situation was, that we were going through, the difficulty, and she wasn't there, but she called somebody else and they processed my paperwork. I got my bank account, so he got even more cool points. I was like, okay, right? He made it happen. So I'm looking at this man like, okay, he has his own house, he has his own car, he's an athlete. You have to have discipline to be an athlete, right? So I'm thinking, this dude is solid. Like, I bucked up on one, right? Okay. Until about 6 months later, he came to visit me. And within 24 hours, I learned exactly who I was dealing with. The lesson: not all red flags are loud. It's the moment you feel the need to protect yourself, and then you convince yourself you're overthinking. I wonder how many red flags you can count in this first episode. You don't have to follow this story, but if you ever second guess yourself in a relationship, you might want to.